Welcome to a Faithful God podcast. I'm your host, Brody Rotzoll, and today on the show, my son Brody is joining us, and we're going to talk about facing those fears and stepping out where God is calling you. So grab those earbuds and your favorite beverage and join me for today's show. Hi friends, welcome back to the show. I am so excited to have you here today and really excited because my baby boy is on the show with me today. So Brody Michael Rotzoll, you are in the house and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. This is great. I mean, you've been doing this for a while and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think you're the last one to be on the show. So, the last one to be on the show. Friends, if you are watching on YouTube, you see we've got two puppies in here that just want to be right in our lap, and we're just going to keep on rolling. We are petting and maneuvering. Yeah, we're going to just keep on rolling. So anyway, I am so excited to have Brody on today. So Brody, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so I am 26 years old, currently living in Richmond now. We grew up obviously here in Prince George. Currently running a marketing company, Integrity Marketing. We focus primarily on websites, moving into ads and analytics, just kind of understanding the back end of that. My background is I went to Radford University, graduated in marketing, and then immediately actually went to finance and just kind of went through that. I was with the bank for a while handling their marketing and then, felt the calling to kind of go out on my own and lucky enough to still help the bank and then some other organizations as well. So a little bit about me.
Yeah, it's been such a joy to see you following God's calling. And now look, guys, I'm going to get teary-eyed. I'm going to do my best not to cry, but it's my baby boy. And I will tell you, I get weepy when it comes to my boys. So anyway, so let's, but let's back up just for a little bit, Brody, because when you first graduated, you said that you were in marketing first. No, you were in finance first.
Finance right out, but marketing was my main.
Yeah. Okay. So then, and when you graduate, I should know that. Look, just like this. Brody said, So, but when you graduated, I remember going through a time because you came home and you knew a lot of friends that were from Northern Virginia whose parents had really, really good businesses. They owned their own businesses or they were really high up in the company. And you come home and you don't have a dream job right out of there. And I remember the struggles you had. So talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, I think, and this is pretty much any college age kid, I feel. We always think that we're going to get out, getting those nice high paying jobs. And like you did say, there were a lot of individuals that were able to get that through some connections, kind of the who you know type thing. So, I did feel a little bit, set back. Like, it was like, okay, well, I felt like I worked my butt off to get all that taken care of, and graduate and do these things, get an internship, and then nothing. Yeah. So it's really kind of interesting to see that. But I think that really helped me to kind of push myself to kind of understand it's like, okay, nothing's given to me. We're going to go ahead and work for it. And I think that definitely brought forth to go forward. And then also really kind of helped throughout my time, at the bank, at the different jobs that I've been doing, and then ultimately to the business now.
Yeah. And when you mentioned your internship because you had an internship, a paid internship in school, which you worked your butt off for that because what was it? It was coming up the summer, and Dad and I told you that, look, we're not paying for you to be there for the summer, so you need to come home. And he immediately went out. Now, what'd you say? You went out and did 100 different applications.
I applied a lot. And it really worked out because I like those applications I did. I could have went in any field. It ended up going into finance, so just specifically lending while I was an intern there. And that opened up a whole whole world of things. So I mean, going back to God's calling and stuff, I literally was applying to like daycare positions for pet sittings.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And stuff like that. And
I
like
didn't know that.
Goat like training and stuff like that. And the job that called me back, and the one that I got a few other interviews, but this one was really great. It moved me down the finance section and made me really kind of realize I want to basically help people. I noticed through that internship, wasn't able to help as many people as I thought, and honestly, I was very straightforward with the consumers about that. But from there, that kind of moved me through what I've, the different realms that I've been through.
Yeah, for sure. And then you got a paid internship afterwards, which was in the finance sector as well. But now you can. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I think you basically said that. Now you can see, correct, that every single step was part of God's plan to prepare you for where you are right now.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And then after you left that internship, because you discovered that it just wasn't for you, and it was with a great company, a phenomenal company. Right, but it just wasn't a good fit for you, correct?
Yeah, and it was just timing too.
Yeah,
I mean, they give you resources and stuff like that. I learned a whole lot at a young age, or a younger age. I was 21 when I got out.
Yeah.
So just kind of just understanding those things, but I learned a whole lot. It was every single. I mean, going back to the first job ever, everything is a learning opportunity. I remember first job ever. It's still thinking that was the craziest, most hard thing ever. But looking back, there's God's plan for everything.
Yeah, and it really prepared you to work with people, and sometimes work with people maybe you don't get along with, and that you have to basically say, all right, the customer's right, and I need to basically suck it up and do what needs to be done. So it's been really cool to see that. And then, of course, you had a job with a restaurant, which just wasn't at all what you wanted to do. And then you got on with the bank.
No, and actually before that, I did plumbing for a little bit.
Oh my goodness, I totally forgot about that, which is so cool because now you own your own home and you can go in and you can do some of these things that, some maybe smaller jobs and stuff like that. So,
I think the cool thing about that too is because when I was doing the plumbing, I thought of it just as plumbing. I was just doing plumbing. That was it. Yeah. But this was a small business that had a bidding structure that I didn't understand at the time. But looking back, it's all a demand chain for that particular type of business. So it's again an understanding of, okay, that type of business, a service industry works here, more product based or a little bit over here. So just by understanding and looking back through those experiences, again, I never would have had that experience, but also by doing that, and, you can kind of have that perspective from different areas, instead of just, oh, well, I don't know that area. Well, you kind of getting into it. So it's nice.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted. That's why I wanted to bring you on the show, because, I talk a lot about, both on the show and Footprints of Inspiration, but our purpose in life. And I think so often, myself included, until I came upon this, a dream job that I had no idea was even a possibility. I had no idea I even wanted to do it, but it just shows that everything leads up to, everything is a stepping stone. Everything is preparation, even the waiting. Lord have mercy, that's been hard, right? Even the waiting, you can now look back and say, wow, I learned so much in each of those positions, for sure. So that was one of the reasons I wanted you on, is because I want you to be able to encourage those that are sitting there in a difficult situation. They are miserable where they are. And so just to give them hope, what would be your recommendation as far as that goes in the waiting? Like, what, now that you've gone through it, now that you struggled through it, what would be, some of your, or a recommendation or advice to give someone else who's sitting in the waiting right now?
Well, the first thing I want to say is you can do it. It can be done. You're seeing this, after, the awful word COVID. Yeah. It has showing people that you can do other jobs. I think what people also are noticing is you don't have to work 40 hours a week anymore.
Yeah.
Henry Ford did that in the 40s.
Yes,
40
that's
hour
so
work
good.
week. That's what you had to do.
Yeah.
But it's just really understanding that balance between, being financially freedom, but then also not having to work all the time and having that time for the family and things for, and also, even going back into donation things. One of the coolest things that we've been able to do at Tegrity is we have extra time now, so we can give back, and just do some stuff with that. And it really feels nice that you can, volunteer your time towards something you want while using your resources instead of, necessarily going and picking up trash on the side of the road, which is great. We've done that multiple times, but I can use my resources and my expertise to better help organizations and to, do stuff like that.
Brody, that is so true. And I didn't think about that, about the 40-hour a week. And, something that something that the Bible teaches us, and all my listeners know, my community knows, I am terrible at memorizing scripture word for word, so I can paraphrase and stuff. But basically, the Bible it tells us God will provide for us, and then some. And you see, our purpose in life, our ultimate calling is to make God known and bring him glory. And so when we are out there doing the job, using the gifts and talents that he's given us, not only are we having the time of our life, you are enjoying the heck out of life, owning your own business, but also that provides the means. I think so often people, and myself included, I'm really going through a mindset shift right now, and about to start a new course myself, to go through about money. And, God doesn't say money is bad. God says the love of money is bad. And that's a big, big difference. And the fact that you can go out there and be successful in what he's given you to do, and then he's providing not only what you need, but enough to be able to go out and serve others, right? By making him known and bringing him glory. And so that's another thing that I love and really wanted to just really talk about today, is because I think so often we get hooked into the assumption that in order to live our ultimate calling, we have to be on a mission field somewhere. We have to be in the church somewhere. And that's what I want our listeners to really understand is, no, that's not it at all. For some people it is. And thank God we have those people. But for someone like yourself, you aren't on you're not, on a mission field per se. You're not in the church, but yet you are serving your community because you've been given and using these gifts and talents that you've been given. So, don't you agree that it's just what you're able to do when you really lean in and go where God is calling you?
When it changes the game too, it makes it.
Yeah.
This goes, into business as well. If you're going out to business to get sales, it's going to be difficult. But if you're going out into business to create value, it makes it a lot easier. So if you're creating value for individuals and illustrating that you are, you care about it, and especially, again, going back to this C word, COVID, things have changed. The digital aspect, digital landscape is here, but it hasn't changed enough to where people don't want to deal with people still.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of understanding that and understanding, you're creating value for these people and whoever your consumers are and stuff like that. So it's, that really shifted everything for us. And by not asking what they can do for us, but what we can do for them, it's opened up more opportunities than we can even think of.
Well, and I'm so glad you said that, because truly, that's something I say again all the time too, is you wake up each day and say, Lord, how can I best serve you? And the way you personally, Brody Rotzoll, are serving God is by going out there and making a difference in their lives, helping them, because you teach people so much stuff. Hey, here's this information. Let me help you. And that's what it's all about. You're not out there preaching the word of God to them, but God's light is shining so brightly through you with the gifts and talents he's given you. And that's just, I feel like, so important for people to understand.
And I think the thing that's very interesting too is, again, it's not, not going out there preaching by any means, but how many times it comes back to it.
Yeah.
I've had so many meetings where people, and these are people that you don't even normally think are religious. And religious to me is a whole spectrum.
Christian,
You can be, a whole level of very, very specific, but just everybody kind of goes back to this, I've had multiple conversations with businesses about just understanding and the timing and going through and doing these things that are happening and will work. But it's not going to happen right away. So, it's, again, that trust factor of, okay,
all right, God,
you got me, but, and then just understanding, that, and then putting the good into it. Because, again, if you're thinking of yourself, that should be the last thing that you're thinking of any time you're doing any of this stuff. So.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I know someone's out there probably thinking this, because I, too, at one point thought of this. You're saying don't think of yourself, but what happens when everything is going wrong? Like everything around us seems to be falling apart. This person is saying, my life is a mess right now. How can I not think of me? How can I think of someone else? What do you say to that?
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, fundamentally, you want to get yourself, taken care of, but at the same time, you don't want to push off other people. For instance, we recently had a nonprofit organization reach out to us about doing their website. And we do a lot of stuff for, just pro bono to help them out. Also, do things in the community. We were slammed.
Yeah.
I was, just working on my stuff. I was like, well, I don't have any time. I don't have any time. So I wasn't even going to meet with them. Went ahead and met with them. And we were, first of all, I didn't charge, it wasn't a charge thing. It was just let's figure out what we can do. I provided ideas and stuff like that. Because again, I don't necessarily have the time to build their entire thing right now. But we were able to sit down in my crazy busy time that I've got going on, scheduled 30 minutes with this individual. We talked through it, just told them some solutions that I knew of. Just here you go, helpful, awesome, here you go. That nonprofit, again, we will be working with them now coming up because it's actually a lot less of a project than I thought. We can really kind of streamline some things. Then they've also brought in 3 additional referrals. And again, none of the referrals I did not want that. I don't, again, we're slammed, which is, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I went in, I was just like, you know what? I know I'm busy. I know I'm slammed. I know I've got all this going on. But let me take 30 minutes to have this conversation with them. And it brought more help, and so without even trying, we got more business by just being a genuine person.
Yeah. When you show up and you take and shift your mind and your thoughts away from poor me, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, because life is hard. But when you turn and you focus on how can I help you? How can I serve you today? God shows up every single time and gives the increase. That whole thing of planting and sowing. We keep planting and sowing and planting and sowing, and God gives the increase. And then look at the blessings that he brought forth because you did and you followed, even though you're thinking to yourself, I don't have time, I am busy, I am slammed. But you took and you walked in obedience and you did it anyway. And then look what happens. It's just... And it's so incredible to watch God do something like that in our lives, like so incredible. So let's talk a little bit about you're working for the bank. Worked there for I don't even know how many years.
3.5.
Okay. Great job.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you really were thinking that this was a place you wanted to work and retire in. You love the community. Yep. You've always been very outgoing. You can walk into a room of people you don't know and speak to them. It's just one of those things. Sorry, guys. I know you can hear the little click, click, click of the Stuart's nails. Yeah. But anyway, so here you're in this place where you think, I want to be here for the rest of my life. I love this community because it's a community bank. I love, helping these people. And then you start feeling that nudge from God to leave a great job, the security of a great job, and venture out on your own.
Yeah.
Tell us about that a little bit.
So again, it all goes back to helping the community, to be honest. Especially, so I was in that role, I was handling the marketing, so I was dealing with a lot of small businesses. Like for instance, at that time we were doing videos to help the small businesses, promote them through the bank to illustrate kind of how we help them and stuff like that. Some of the people that I've worked with that are in the area actually started reaching out to me because of, the marketing I'd done with the bank. They're like, Brody, we're getting there. Like for instance, in this area, big agencies were coming in and just like people wouldn't, it was too expensive, or their websites were literally being dropped. Like they would be working with somebody and then all of a sudden that person would never reach out to them again.
Yeah.
This one client lost $3,000 on a website and never talked to this person ever again. So I'm hearing all this stuff, all the time. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, well, I like banking and I really like marketing, but I really like the community stuff and especially small businesses. So, I mean, this was probably a 8-month process to kind of get ready. Started out by, again, if you're going to do business or something, make sure you register it, LLC, however you're going to do it. Make sure you take care of that in the beginning. Makes things a lot easier on the back end. What I started doing was kind of, because at first 3 months of it, it was just like, okay, we've got a business. This is a great idea. Down the road, possibly like just something fun on the side.
Yeah.
And again, because of God, like, and when we were just talking through, like that original client brought on 3 more. And then we did that and then had those 3. And again, I was working full time at the bank. So I was like, none of it was a solicitation for another business, but just by providing that value in the demand in the area. We were up to 15 clients before I left, and that was within 6 months.
Yeah.
And that was all just referral and stuff like that, and none of it was being asked or anything. But just the call itself, going back to the finance side of things, I wasn't going to do it. I was not going to do it. I had a solid job. I had 401k. It just, everything was set up. We just bought a house. Like everything. It's like, okay. But God was just like, I would consider pile driving customers our way that needed help. And I felt that was where we could provide more value. Again, so eventually I went to the bank, let them know. And again, God answered. They asked for me to take over their marketing as a contractor. So again, I still got to help out that same bank that I loved. And I still get to help out the small businesses in the area. Yeah. I do think, again, prayers to God are huge. You've got to have that. You've got to talk, because like there were so many times I'm just sitting there like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And I will recommend a book. It's called Profit First. That will help just really streamline your finances on those side of things.
For sure.
But a combination of Profit First, a really good mentor on the business side, and, constantly speaking with God, really kind of pushed me to make that move. And 7 months later, this is his best decision.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just 7 months, like officially in just 7 months. And you are, I think every week I talk to you, you've picked up more clients. It is just growing so fast, and you're loving it, and you're so passionate about it. And so and of course I love it because I do similar work. It's similar, kind of, we cross a lot. So it's fun to sit with you and, pick your brain, and you teach me so much and stuff like that. So yeah, but you mentioned something else, and that was a business mentor. So talk about a God thing. And I genuinely thank God your business mentor, Ray, has just been someone that has come into your life. And this man is so dang smart, and he's so, like, he really genuinely wants to see you succeed. Like 100%.
Just say me.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
It is
Yeah.
crazy. Just again, that's where I'm learning all of this stuff from. Is he does everything to help.
Yeah.
There's nothing that he does in this entire world that does not have a motive to help.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
He is successful on, I think, 5 different businesses now. And again, everything he does is he shapes it around the value proposition of helping the community. I mean, it's so, remedial to think that it's that simple, but it's just by understanding, okay, I'm not going to do this whole campaign just because I'm going to make this money.
Yeah.
Why don't you do this campaign because it's going to add value and get rid of this issue that they are having? For instance, like on our marketing side of things, I'm not going to go out there and say, hey, come on in, free website, I'll take care of it, I'll get it done for you. But you want to focus more on the side of, hey, are you getting ripped off on the advertising side? Are you tired of dealing with just kind of not good people? Like just really understanding their why behind it, and just pinpointing their value proposition and what their issues are. By understanding and solving those issues, again, you're helping them, and you're not selling. So just,
the Tim O'Brien, you know who I'm talking about, right? The Wisconsin guy.
Yeah.
So on that episode, he said, and I'll link to that in the show notes, but that was something that came to him that God made very clear one day when he was like, bring in the sales. Come on, Lord. I felt you nudging me to open this. Where are the sales? Where are the sales? And when God, he really felt God say, do you care more about souls or do you care more about sales? And that's what it's about. And, and coming down to our the very basic, the very foundation. And another thing I say all the time is the very foundation is understanding who we are, whose we are, and why we were created. And then it also, it's a foundation, a building block, but it's also like an umbrella. Like if it doesn't fall within this umbrella of why we were created, then it's not, no, you can say no to it because it's just not.
And that goes back to your business focus as a whole and everything you've got going. Because, your mission, vision, values, by understanding and sticking to those things, you can really shape your brand around it, but then also you can focus on the community. Because if you are doing, all sorts of things, you're not doing anything. You want to focus on very few things that you can be good at, because otherwise you're providing a smaller amount of value than the expertise that you could bring to that particular industry or particular thing that you're looking at.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we often get into that because we look and see what everybody else is doing. We compare what we have versus what they have. And in the thing of gifts and talents, God doesn't call us all to the same ministry. And so we have to take our gifts and talents, handle and be available, serve this community right here, even though there's a lot of other community out there, but that's what God has called them to do, And so Brody, as we kind of wrap up, I'd love to hear your take. Again, I just really want our listeners to understand that, again, it's not always about being on a mission field, being in a church. It's not always about going out and preaching God's word, but just in the way you do. But what kind of advice would you give them if they've really felt like, oh, okay, they've had this aha moment through this, and they are saying, okay, but those what I call buts. Yeah, but I don't know how. Yeah, but I'm scared. Yeah, but I don't have enough money. What advice would you give them to face their fears and just follow where God is calling them?
Well, first of all, God, it's His plan. It's taken care of. There's nothing you can't fight it. You can't, and it's just, I would leverage it to do better things with it. But as far as I'm a big fan of, I'm not going to bring on somebody that gives me a but. I'm not doing it. It's because there are solutions, especially in today's age. You can give me 50 reasons why you can't do it for anything that you do. I mean, you really have to get through that, because if you're going to be a business owner, you're going to go into that field, or, you have those dilemmas, there will always be a but. But if you're the yeah, but type person and then get stuck on the but, sure. I'm sorry, but that's where you take a step back, thank you, God, talk to him, just have a conversation. Because I had a whole yeah, but when I was leaving, yeah, but my 401k, yeah, but my health insurance, yeah, but a steady income, yeah, but a salary. But I can help this many people. And okay, how do I need to do it to get it done? So whenever I had a but, there needs to be a solution. Mm-hmm. And if there's not a solution, I would encourage you to change your mindset around it, because there are solutions. So many times we get trapped in, well, I've done it this way and therefore it can't happen. Well, it can happen. There mm-hmm. are, I can't even explain to you the amount of times that people have come to me with a yeah, but situation, and then there's always a workaround. I have not run into a yeah, but and been stopped. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage you to not let that but stop you, mm-hmm. and just talk to God any questions you have, because he's going to be the one that's continue to kind of push you, to help you, and to get you in front of those right people. I think the biggest thing is, for instance, I know a lot of businesses that are like, well, I'm not going to go to that chamber event, or I'm not going to go to that group outing, because they don't have, what I'm looking for. Well, I guarantee that they know somebody who knows somebody who possibly knows somebody who has some sort of value that you can bring. Any situation. I mean, you could be out at the park. You could be anywhere. And these are just situations that you can have. But just by talking to people and then going into, with God and everything, again, you don't have to open up the conversation with hey, I believe in God and you should too.
Yes.
It could just be a natural conversation, and they're going to be a lot more open to it. I mean, like I said, those business customers I've talked to about God, I never opened up the conversation about it, but it moved into there very naturally, and we were able to have a good conversation through that. So just by surrounding yourself with people and not always like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You have to get out there to different type of people. I have so many different people that I send different work to, because I know that this person's going to say one thing, this person's going to say another, and I need those perspectives, because even not even on the business side of things, but people have different perspectives. Mm-hmm. So you can't just be locked in your own mind. So by understanding, God will push you through those things, but that helps out a lot as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And, and God's going to put, as you've seen, God puts those people in your life. So when you're sitting there yeah-butting all over your situation, what you've got to remember, and you've got to change your mindset to, when someone says yeah, but, no, but God. Mm-hmm. But God, because God's going to put the people in your life that you need. God's going to put, he's going to, guide you through the steps. I mean, how many times have you gotten on YouTube to learn how to do something?
Oh yeah.
All the time. Yeah. My husband too, Keith, your dad too, mm-hmm. We are constantly, there, like Brody said, there's no yeah, but that can't be solved. So we've got to get out of that yeah, but mentality and go to that but God mentality and go and ask him. And I say this all the time. I mean, don't ask. The most important thing you can ever ask of God is wisdom. Mm-hmm. That is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thank you, Brody. I do have to bring up a couple of things though while we have you on. So totally.
Well, I do want to say just
please.
A couple more things. Please. So as far as the yeah, but I do know I'm kind of being pretty straight up with this, but I want you to think about in your work environment, those employees that come up to you with an issue every day. Mm-hmm. The same issue every single day, but they don't have a solution. Mm-hmm. I want to encourage you that when you have that issue, don't let it just go on. I remember when I was at the bank, I would get the same online banking questions every single day. And because there was no solution to it. So that was yeah, but Oh, yeah, but I don't know how to do this. Okay, solution, figure it out. Learn it. Just understand.
Meaning you're learning it.
Or they're
to
learning.
teach it. Oh,
to
yeah.
teach them. So there was a lot of times that people just, well, I don't have time. Well, you do, So just think through that. Just think through. That was one thing that really changed, and I had to change because now as a business owner and as, it's a one-man team and then I subcontract.
Solopreneur, right?
If somebody comes to me, like I can't go to myself and go, well, Brody, we have an issue. Well, Brody, figure it out. Like it's, so just really kind of understanding that there is a solution to everything.
Right.
It's not just, oh, well, I don't know. We'll just stop. And that's just, and that's where you just talk with God and just kind of understand, situations that work for you.
Yeah, for sure. And Brody, you have been, and thank you for that, by the way. Thank you for that. That's so true. So true. So Brody you've had a relationship with God for ever since I can remember. And we always talk about thinking back, you know what I'm going to say? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Brody, in our neighborhood, he had a Bible that my mom had given him, that his Omi had given him, and he would walk down the street with the Bible open. He never knocked on doors or anything, but he'd walk down the street with his Bible and everything. But another story actually there are a couple that I really like. Another one of them is, and we talked about this in the episode Brother was on, but do you remember the day that you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior? You remember that? So that was because of a baseball game, so here's something funny. You want to talk about the buts. I used to get so angry that baseball tournaments were on Sundays, or at least Sunday mornings, because then we couldn't go to church. And so there was my but. And then, but God, so brings us this incredible coach who would host a church service right on the ball. Yep, right on the ball field. He'd talk to the boys. He'd talk to the parents and stuff. And so that day, Dean. I mean, we haven't seen him in years and years and years. But Dean is the one. I don't remember what his sermon was about that day. But you came home. You were in your room.
You wrote. It was that sports. Yeah, he gave us like a sports Bible type. It was like
we did like a devotional.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that again right there. We were playing sports. He related to us by providing value in that sports. Instead of just blindly doing scripture at us at 13 years old, I wouldn't have. But he related to us by giving us a sports thing, and it just really. That's how he created value to us instead of just spouting his word.
Yep, exactly. Like he used the gifts and talents he had to talk to you kids, and look what happened. You came to Christ that day. You remember you wrote it on a Post-it note and brought it and said it. I still have that Post-it note. Yeah. But the last thing that I do want to talk about, and then we'll go, but is the morning. Now this I'm going to really have to not cry, guys. So the morning you moved out. Yeah. That's a tough one. So I was down here working in my office. I heard your alarm go off in the morning. So this is the morning he and his girlfriend Haley are getting ready to close on their house and move out that day. And I hear his alarm go off. So I go up there to talk to him, and we have a conversation about the priorities of God. And so because now that he is moving out and he is with Haley, we understand that Haley comes before us. But that's how it goes, and that God is first. I know Brody very much is a lot like me, who could sit down and work for 12, 14 hours a day. And so I wanted to remind him of where work fell in God's priorities.
And that's not always an easy thing to do.
No, it's not.
I guarantee that is an ongoing
ongoing battle. For sure.
It's an ongoing battle because, again, you want to help and you want to get things done. But definitely managing that it goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure. And when you understand God's priorities, which, by the way, we talk about that in Jumpstart Online Bible Study, but it's God, self/spouse, family, ministry and then work at the very bottom. And so, which also just goes to show God puts work at the very bottom, even though he knows we have to provide for our families, because he is the provider. We're not to rely on ourselves. We are to rely on him as a provider. But anyway, when I went up there and we had this I think I went and kind of crawled in bed. Okay, that sounds kind of creepy. I think I sat on the bed with him beside me because that sounded really creepy. But anyway, but you had said you had been up for the last 2 hours and had been praying the whole time. And that's when I came downstairs and I'm like, all right, God, he's got it. I don't have to worry about him. So yeah, that's something I'll never forget. And it was just a special moment for us. So anyway, babe, so if anyone would like to get in touch with you.
Oh yeah. So integritymarketing.com is where you can reach us. Honestly, what we're looking for is we want to help. So just right now, any nonprofit organizations, anybody that is doing something good, and you
like
just
a small business,
anything, small businesses, just let us know your story, and we're here to help. What we normally do is we just sit down, have a conversation. First of all, let people know what we do, but then just kind of take a look at what they've got going on and just provide resources up front. Yeah. Like we literally go through and do that. So if you guys have anything with that, definitely feel free to reach out. We'll let you know it is us. So, we'll just be personally emailing you back. But yeah, but again, like I said, the biggest thing that we want to do is small businesses and nonprofits, because we feel that we can provide the most value to them. So, that's where we're at.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, baby boy. This has been fun. Prior to recording, we actually were sitting right by each other just working away. So that's always fun too. We like doing that. So yeah. So anyway, friends, thank you so much. Brody, thank you for joining us today. And friends, I'll see you next week on another episode of the Faithful God Podcast.